I know with some, get a little bit of your coaching skills as far as persuasion. Like, what are the like top three things as far as like maybe nonverbal, verbal, or
Indirect cause and effect language.
okay,
Indirect cause and effect language. There's two forms of persuasion. There's being indirect and direct. And you start these, the indirect cause and effect language is it utilizes conditions because we live in a conditional response world. Real basically, the condition is if you walk into a dark, unfamiliar room, you're more than likely going to stub your toe. Okay? The effect is going to be stub your toe. You walk into a cause and effect. We live in a cause and effect world. This cause allows and results in that effect. So you walk into a dark, unrecognizable room where there's furniture. Without turning on the light, you're going to stub your toe. Cause and effect. You walk into a room, you turn on the light. The effect is you have a very remote chance of stubbing your toe. So we live in cause and effect. The cause is if you speed, the effect is you speed on the freeway, the effect is more than likely you run a higher risk of receiving a speeding ticket. You don't speed on the freeway, the effect is you have a reduced almost zero chance of getting a ticket on the freeway. So it's cause and effect. Everything we do is cause and effect. And so we want to utilize that power for persuasion by moving someone towards an end result using cause and effect. We all believe in cause and effect. So in order to utilize this persuasion skill, you hear politicians do this, you hear attorneys do this, you hear moms and dads use cause and effect language. So we all have cause and effect. For example, cause and effect. If you don't eat your beans, you're not going to get dessert. Okay? Then that child has to weigh the risk reward. Do I risk eating those nasty green beans? Brussels sprouts? Okay, in order to get chocolate cake. Okay, well, you're not only chocolate cake, Johnny, we're going to have ice cream and syrup on the chocolate cake. Oh, wow. Okay, now there's little less risk for that big reward. Okay, if you pile on a bigger reward, then the risk is going to be much easier to undertake. So that's what I mean. We all live in cause and effect, and we're already using this language pattern in order to be persuasive to others as well as being persuasive to ourselves. Okay, how do we be persuasive to ourselves with cause and effect language? Direct and indirect. If I continue to eat like this, I will continue to have a swollen, overweight body. Okay, if I exercise more and eat less and eat reasonable portions, I have a better chance of not being the size and attaining a weight that I want. Cause and effect. And we all live with these effects, all based upon a cause. So change the effect, change the cause. The difficult part is having people change the cause to get an effect. Who doesn't in the weight loss world, okay? Who doesn't in the weight loss world never want to have to change their eating habits, exercise more in order to lose weight? So here's a pill. All you need to do is take this pill. You don't have to change the way you eat. You don't have to exercise. You just take this pill and you will shrink. Wow. Okay. $25 for a bottle of 100 pills sold. Okay. Money back guarantee. You're not going to return it for $25 if it doesn't work after 3 weeks. Okay. So that's a cause and effect. We all live with it. So when we want to use it for persuasion, okay, you want to start with what we call a pace. It's pace and lead, pace and lead, pace and lead. And for those that have been around some of my NLP coaching, you'll recognize what a pace and lead is. A pace is something we both mutually agree with. Something we both mutually agree with. A lead is exactly what it means, is something I want you to believe. something I want you to believe. Okay? Start with something we agree with, something I want you to believe. So in the real estate world, it could be, you can apply this to almost anything that you want. Okay? So give me an example, and it works in all areas of your presentation. Okay? From the introduction to the greeting, to the discovery, to finding the pain, to solving the pain, to overcoming objections, and to closing. Those are the 7 areas of a presentation of a sale. So you can utilize it all over the place. I typically like to use it for identifying the pain, solving pain, overcoming objections, and closing. But it can be used in all different areas. So let me give you a quick example. Thing comes to my mind is a for sale by owner, because it'll be really easy to relate to them. And I want to start with something we both agree upon. And I'm going to use the word since. Not CENTS, since, although I like a lot of that, but since, SINCE. It cues up the brain to begin to think. Since you want to save money by selling it on your own. Okay? How could a for sale by owner disagree with that? They can't. Okay? They can't disagree. Jose, since you are a for sale by owner, that's something we can both agree upon, and you want to save the money, and you want to avoid listing it. Those are 3 things I have just mentioned that Jose, in this case, the for sale by owner, cannot disagree with. No, I'm not a for sale by owner. No, I don't want to save money. And you're darn right, I just can't wait to list my house. I'm saying 3 things that he agrees with. Okay. Now, in the terms pacing, in the neuro-linguistic world, it introduces me to his world on a level playing field, meaning I understand. Okay, because that's one of the elements of rapport. Understand, UCAT. In order to be understood, I must first understand. Okay, so it's going to allow them to create a relationship with you, even though it's not solidified, but to say, okay, this guy gets me. You realize the world that I'm in. I am entering into this for sale by owner's world. I'm stepping right into their freaking world without even asking permission to enter it. They can't kick me out. They can't kick me out of that world when I say, since you are a for sale by owner, you're selling it on your own, and you want to save money, and you don't want to list your property, they're not going to kick me out of that world. I am already in that world. They're not going to kick me out. And then I can say whatever I feel like saying next. Okay? And then if they want to, they can kick me out. But in old school selling, if you've been studying sales and persuasion, or if you're just naturally persuasive, small yeses lead to big yeses later. Okay? Small yeses lead to big yeses later. Okay? And that's how our relationships grow as well. Rarely on your first date, you're going to say, will you marry me? Okay? Yeah. It's sort of that, you don't want to ask that big question. You want to wait till that relationship gets to a certain point where it's like, hey, they're going to call you back and want to list with you, or you feel that now is the right time to go in and ask for that listing. And there may be some pre-trial closes along the way that will help you identify where you're at in that relationship and the timing and the development of all that process. And that's, that just goes with lead follow-up. So getting back into this role playing, how to use it. So it's something we agree with, something I want you to believe. Something we agree with, something I want you to believe. So here's an example, sticking with the for sale by owner. And if you want me to do another example in another area, I can most certainly do so for negotiations, for presenting price, for I got a friend in the business, whatever it may be. Jose, since you are selling it on your own and you're not going to be using an agent, you want to save money on the commissions by selling it on your own. Let me help you understand why it may be just a good idea at some point down the road that you may be interested in hiring an agent should that time ever come. Can I explain? No, he can say, no, don't explain. Or he could say, well, I'm still not going to list my property. At any rate, it doesn't matter, because when I say, may I explain, it's going to bring me back into an explanation. If they say, well, yeah. Or you can say, since you are since you're selling your home on your own and you want to save a ton of money, I can assure you in today's market, you will be getting top dollar for your property. It's all about exposure, isn't it? Something I want you to believe. It's all about exposure, isn't it? Now, where do you think I can take that? And I use the word isn't it. Isn't it is a tie down. So if they agree with, I'm getting really into this language kind of thing, because once you're listening and you understand these patterns, it's just like reading music. It's all about exposure, isn't it? And they're going to say yes. So now I have that bullet that I can use later. Since you believe, okay, now I'm going to use what they just agreed upon, because I just tied it down. So let's role play real quickly. I'm not going to get too deep into the whole, dialogue, but it's all about exposure, isn't it, Jose?
Yes, it is.
Okay, now I have this agreement that it's about exposure. So now what I can use is that agreement as my next pace. Watch. Understanding that exposure is a primary drive to get property sold in this market, I would love to be able to show you how we may be able to provide that exposure without it having cost you any more commission that you're already dealt out on the table. Can I explain what I'm talking about, or do you understand already what I'm saying?
You can go ahead and explain.
Right. If you were to look at a plan and a proposal that I can put together for you in a professional manner, about 67% of the time it's going to work. And since that you are already considering offering a selling office commission, if I were able, and I don't know if I can or not, and you're not sure if I can or not as well, right? Mm-hmm. Provide you with a proposal in such a way that you can walk away with this with just as many dimes in your pocket, and I could put a few in mine, and it doesn't affect your bottom line. Would that be something worth taking a look at and going over for about 20 to 35 minutes? I have some time. I'm not going to wait. I've got some time next Tuesday at 4 o'clock. If it works, it's going to work. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter.
Sure, we can check it out.
Excellent. Would you like to come into my office for this, or would you like me to come out to your home?
You can come here.
Okay. I just gave some control back to him.
Nice. I feel like another thing you can agree upon is like them getting hammered by phone calls.
Right. Okay. So that's indirect cause and effect language. Okay. That's indirect cause and effect language. Direct cause and effect language has a transition point in between you where you go from pacing to leading. Okay. Where you go from pacing to leading, and you use the word it, which, or that. Ooh, this is the fun one. This is it's not indirect. Something we agree with, something I want you to believe. Okay. Something we agree with, something I want you to believe. That's indirect cause and effect. Direct cause and effect focuses their attention specifically between the pace and the lead. And in that transition point where you move from pace to lead, you use the word it, which, or that. Okay? Let me give you an example. And you start with the same types of words, since, all right? Since you are looking to save some money, and not hiring a real estate agent, it confirms why we should possibly talk in the near future about getting your home sold for the highest dollar amount. Can I explain? Yeah, they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? It confirms, okay? Here's another one. Since you are looking to put as much money in your pocket, it means we have something we can seriously discuss regarding the sale of your home. Do you have a minute? This means that. Okay. Knowing that you are getting hundreds and hundreds of phone calls, it means that you have a very popular home, which confirms why I'm calling today. And why I'm calling today, that should relate to you the purposes of why you would want to meet with me in order to take a look at this proposal. And the proposal, Jose, is going to move you to the Renton area, okay? With the same amount of money that I want to put in your pocket. I know this for sure, Jose. You've been getting tons of phone calls from other real estate agents almost saying the identical thing that I've been saying, haven't you? Why does this conversation sound different from the others?
I don't know.
I think you already know, because I'm serious about doing what I say I'm going to set out to do. See, sometimes I like to draw a distinction. Why do I sound different from the other real estate brokers that I've spoken with? And it doesn't matter what they say. Well, you sound all alike. Well, then you haven't been paying close enough attention. I know it sounds aggressive, and you may say, oh, I would never say that. But when you're in a competitive environment, such as a for sale by owner, they want to have somebody to work with that they feel confident in, that you sound enthusiastic, that you're here to serve. I'm here to serve. And that's where this is coming from. It's really difficult to expand on these types of language, persuasive language techniques. I would teach this and I would coach this. Each one of them is about a 2-hour lesson to really get it down and to begin to use it. However, just think of it this way. Something we agree with, something I want you to believe. Something we agree with, something I want you to believe. Since you've checked into our website and you've been looking at homes for a while, okay, it tells me that at some point in time in the future, you're going to be investing in the purchase of a spectacular home. Knowing that you're going to be involved in purchasing a home, I would love to be able to play a role in that process, to help you along each step of the way in order for you to get what you want, pay the amount that you want, and then in the time that you want it. Let's move forward into this conversation and take it to the next level and arrange a consultation, either online or we can do this in person. And we begin the process on the pathway to ownership. Something we agree with, something I want them to believe. Something we agree with, something I want them to believe. Since we love going on, this is my wife, Rochelle and I, babe, since we love going on trips and vacations, something we agree with, let's consider going to Mexico. Let's consider going to Florida. Let's consider going to Hawaii. So I want to try to lead that conversation based upon something we already agree with. And I'm going to try to get my way, or I'm going to scream and cry until I get my lollipop. Everybody wants their lollipop, friends. Everybody wants their lollipop. Did that like really confuse a bunch of people, or Did it bring some light into some areas? Because you're already using this language. I just want to let you know, you're already using it. Okay. And since you're already using it, now you have the ability to make it more powerful. Did you hear what I just said? I just used it.
I heard it.
Yeah. Knowing that you want to advance in your career, understanding that you want to create more profit within your business. It confirms why you're here today, working in sales development, continuing to look at your schedule and time block and time manage yourself, addressing the areas of your business for profitability. And what that means for you is that you have more freedom, security in your life, which is why you got started in this crazy thing called real estate, isn't it? Hard to say no. I packaged, you may not have heard that, but I packaged what I was leading you towards. And then I finished it with a nice golden nugget. It was a feel-good nugget. But before I gave you that feel-good nugget, right after I paced everything, were what? Time management. Okay. Training and coaching. I packaged those three things right in between the pacing and before I finish it off with a nice golden nugget, which is what you really want for your life, isn't it? And what they hear is what they heard in the beginning. And if they say, yeah, that's really what I want. All I need, I can go circle back and say, okay, then how much time management are you utilizing? What is your schedule looking like? And how much time are you dedicating to your profession? If that's truly what it is you want. Oh yeah, that's right, the work part. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this gets me excited. Thanks for bringing this up, Jose. Are there any other areas that I can exercise around? It's been a while since I've talked and coached this. Jose?
What about like the?
Are you here, Jose?
Yeah, what about like the different personality types? Does that have to do with that?
Oh, okay. Now you're adding on a different, a whole nother level, and it can, okay? Because if they're inspiring, you want to be more inspirational type of language, and using the words discovery, explore, and if they are more direct and they're more D type, it's going to be say, let's just focus on results. Focus on results. Let's tap into the results and what it is we need to achieve results. Okay. If they happen to be more engineering, we're going to take a look at the sequence. We're going to line this out. We're going to follow all the steps, because success leaves clues, doesn't it? And all we do is just follow this sequence. It's like an equation, and we're going to get the result we want if we just do 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 equals that every single time. So we're just going to follow a roadmap that's already been designed. And for the S person, I'm not going to give up on you. This is going to take some time, and we're going to work towards together this result. And I'm not going to give up until we get this result. And so, yeah, you can tie this into the different personality types. But, this just takes a lot of practice. Just takes a lot of practice. So where you can be like Jim and drive with your manual transmission, turning a corner, flipping on the turn signals, adjusting the stereo and taking a sip of your latte, and turning the wheel, adjusting the visor, all at the same time without even thinking about it. That takes practice. It's not recommended, but it does take practice, before it becomes unconscious. There's a lot more to this, and so just if you want to practice this, just keep in mind something we agree with, something I want you to believe. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Something we agree with, something I want you to believe. And you are, by pacing them, you are gaining access without asking permission into their world. That's the beauty of pacing. It's understanding the other person's desires. It's understanding where, okay, pacing can also be temporal. Okay, I'm not saying temporary. It's temporal, meaning time. Okay, time. Temporal is time. So you can pace a past, you can pace the present, and you can pace the future. Okay, knowing, here's a pace, knowing that you've already purchased a home 7 years ago. And as we are now looking for properties online, knowing that the investment possibilities in the future are fantastic. I've just paced 3 things. Something in the past, something that's happening now in the present, and something they want in the future. Those are 3 temporal pacing. And so you can see, this is why pacing, this is a 2-hour coaching session on pacing and leading as it relates to direct and indirect cause and effect language. Is pacing can also be used in a temporal sense, where you can lead somebody by a future, you've heard this term, future pace, back to a present moment. Now, Jose, I'm going to get into the weeds for a second. And so you can future pace visually, okay? You can future pace visually, and then lead emotionally, an emotional lead. So you can go future pace, present lead. So you have a future pace, put a V next to that, and you can do present lead and put an E next to that. Emotions create motion. If there's no motion, there is no emotion. Emotions move us, okay? Because there is an emotional reward that we get from every behavior. Negative behavior or a positive behavior, there is a reward that we get emotionally. So if you can tie an emotional reward into a present lead based upon a future pace that they can see, okay? So let's take, I know I got to get going. So if you really want to get into the science of persuasion and this kind of stuff, I get really excited about it. We can work and develop this if we want to spend, sales development doing this kind of stuff. I'd be more than happy to do this. I've got to get going and head to the office, get to the hub. Next week, we're going to not be available on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but I will be available on Thursday next week because Summit. Okay. Yeah. So
Vegas, baby.
Jose. Yes. Thanks for bringing this up, Jose. I love talking about this stuff. It has relationship to do what it is we do, how we talk to ourselves, how we speak to other people, and of course, how we conduct our presentations in order to be more impactful to serve other people. Our compensation, I'll repeat this, Our compensation is based upon the number of people we serve and how well we serve them. That is your compensation. If you feel that you are not being compensated, then find more people to serve and serve them better than the competition.
I freaking love that. That's
Okay.
it. Bottom line.
That's your compensation.
Drop the mic.
Okay. Find people to serve and then serve them better than your competition. That's how you identify your compensation. So if, like Jim Rohn says, if you want to earn more, be more.
Real quick, are there any podcasts or books that you suggest, audio books that we could continue feeding our mind on with this topic?
Yeah, I wrote it. It's called Winning Sales Language. I will share it to the whole group today.
Winning Sales Language.
Yeah.
You wrote a book?
Yeah, I did. And I made a lot of money on it, and then the market crashed. And then I started doing real estate again, which is great, and I love it. So I will share that book to everybody today. It's in a PDF form. I'll send it out to everybody on a group email through for the Orca admin, and it'll say Winning Sales Language. It'll be a PDF. It's 212 pages. It is a it's written for self-coaching, but I also sold it, and that's what I was selling coaching and doing this kind of presentations all over the United States at one point. So I'll send it out to you guys, and yeah, I got to get going. My boss is saying, let's get to the office. See ya!
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Woo-hoo.
Thanks.